Now, do I know if a call for an uprising is saved? No, I don't know. That's between him and God. But I can tell you this. He is either A, not saved, or one of the most spiritually weak Christians I've ever seen in my life who doesn't produce spiritual fruit.
Hey Faith family, it's Brother Mario. I pray you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to go ahead and make a video to respond to a call for an uprising's most recent video.
Why would you need to respond to his video that has nothing to do with you? I wonder what the motivation could be.
In it, as you're going to see, I'm going to play for you a short little clip from it. He has the courage to be vulnerable, open, and honest about his personal struggles.
This has nothing to do with a call for an uprising or his courage or struggles or anything else. This is solely about Mario attempting to manipulate his audience to equate himself in his own struggles with a call for an uprising and try to make himself relatable and even try to get on a call for an uprising's good side so that maybe he can attach himself to a call for an uprising's channel just like he tried to back in 2016. But a call for an uprising already knows you're a phony and wants nothing to do with you. He never did.
And in fact, his personal struggle is something that I've struggled with, and I'm sure many of you do as well. And so when I heard this, I thought, man, what an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, an amazing opportunity for you to manipulate your audience and try to exploit a call for an uprising, using his name for views while you virtue signal to your viewers how much you understand him and relate to him, and another attempt to build yourself up to regain public trust. This is yet another attempt to make himself look like the good guy. He's like a politician.
To open up this discussion with brothers and sisters in the body of Christ about this very real struggle for many of us. I personally have been going through a healing journey in this area.
So a call for an uprising is dealing with something, and Mario wastes no time to make it all about himself. Mario's that guy or girl, don't want to discriminate. I know there are lots of female narcissists out there as well. So Mario is that person that anytime you bring up an issue or a problem, they have to top it. If you say you've been stressed out lately because of X, Y, and Z, Mario would be like, you think you got it bad? I'm dealing with Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. He's that guy who won't lend an ear when something's wrong with you because he's too busy redirecting the conversation back to himself. I think my new nickname for Mario Uprising should be Mario, you think you got it bad? Uprising.
I seeked Christian counseling and still receive it today in order to deal with this and continue to heal this area.
Just like I said, this was supposed to be about a call for an uprising's struggles, but he's making it about himself. And he's talking about how much he's grown because he wants to win back the trust from all the viewers who left after he got exposed. He always has an agenda. That's why I keep making all of these videos to expose him.
I talked about it in a video that I'll leave pinned up for you in the YouTube comment below.
See how easy it is to identify his patterns? Now he's using this A Call for an Uprising video to promote his channel. He is not the least bit concerned about anyone else's struggles. The only struggle he worries about is his own struggle for attention and adoration.
If you're watching on Instagram, you'll have to go to my YouTube channel to find this video. But it's a video where I discuss how I've struggled with this as well.
Again, he's just trying to paint a picture of him as the good guy who has overcome his struggles, all to earn back public trust.
Now, some of you might be finding this a little strange. You know, me and A Call for an Uprising historically have not always gotten along.
Actually, you're the one who didn't get along. All he ever tried to do was mind his own business, and you kept trying to get him to work with you, and when he wasn't interested, you started beef with him to create drama for your channel. He had like one public debate with you online, and he was just trying to point out how judgmental and prideful you were. But honestly, there really wasn't much of a feud between Mario and A Call for an Uprising, because A Call for an Uprising ignored Mario for the most part because he understands that is how you deal with a narcissist. You simply don't give them attention. But hell had no fury like a narcissist ignored, which is why Mario made videos where he was going off like a mental patient on A Call for an Uprising.
You are an embarrassment to the Christians here. You have no fruits of the Spirit. What a disgrace you are. When you stand in front of God, you're going to be disgraced. Total disgrace. An embarrassment to Jesus Christ because you have no fruit. You're an embarrassment to Jesus Christ. You have no spiritual maturity. Now, my friend, you're just proving, go ahead and prove to the entire Christian community, dude, that you're not a real Christian, that you don't have any spiritual fruit.
Now, keep in mind that when Mario made that video, he was using ministry donations his viewers sent him on drugs and escorts.
Do you know why I'm the most hated? Because I'm the most real Christian in this community, bro. I'm the most Holy Spirit-filled Christian. That's why they attack me.
That is just how easy it is for him to look into the camera and lie and brag about how holy and righteous he is, knowing full well that his lifestyle is the complete opposite. Someone like that has to have their conscience seared, because no one with a normal conscience would do that.
I just want to say, I'm done with that. I'm not here to fight.
Of course, you already lost, and you have no leg to stand on.
I'm not here to cause division.
Look how virtuous I am! This is just more of him trying to create the image that he's changed to win back public trust. That's all this is.
The Bible is very clear that we are called to love our brothers. And, sometimes we don't agree on everything. And sometimes you can get two passionate guys who, can go and butt heads a little bit. And typically in the past, that's been me in A Call for an Uprising. But
actually, more like you trying to headbutt him and him swatting you away like a fly and then going about his business.
I'm not here anymore to engage in any of that.
Yeah, I would think not, since you already made a fool out of yourself, telling him he's not a true Christian because he doesn't have spiritual fruit.
Now, do I know if A Call for an Uprising is saved? No, I don't know. That's between him and God. But I can tell you this. He is either A, not saved, or one of the most spiritually weak Christians I've ever seen in my life who doesn't produce spiritual fruit.
Then you got caught for having nudes of your godly bros on your phone. Only God knows what was going on off camera at your private in-home Bible studies. And to the left here is Eric, the one Mario had nudes of on his phone. They look like a knockoff boy band from the 90s. Of course, Mario would be the lead singer. Boy, you're the one for me. E-R-I-C. Let's start a men's ministry.
This is not your typical men's ministry. We're looking for a particular type of men. And so the type of man that this ministry is looking to help disciple are men like us. Part of what we're going to be showing you here is me and Eric, because God is in our lives now, are finally manning up. With everything going on in the world right now, I think it's important that we unite on things that are important like this. I'm not going to be spending time being immature or childish. Our sanctification, our healing, and our relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, the number one priority, of course, is godly training in righteousness. And so let's go ahead and listen to A Call for an Uprising courageously.
Oh, he's so glad to have your stamp of approval, Mario. He really values your insight and wisdom.
Share with us in a vulnerable, honest way what he's dealing with.
I know I probably don't sound very good either. I just want to apologize for not putting out as much content as I should. It makes me feel really, really guilty. I've been dealing with a lot of, I guess, self-worth issues and other things, which I shouldn't be dealing with, but I bring upon myself because I guess it's just one of those things like when you're a kid or whatever, and you never deal with it, and I personally just have this, if you've listened to my channel for a long time, I always kind of say, if I'm lucky enough to get to heaven, and people are like, why would you ever say something like that? Of course, if you believe, you're going to go. And I've just always had these self-worth issues where I don't feel like I'm good enough, and I'm not going to get emotional. But specifically to God, like thinking about what Jesus did for us. And I know other people listen, they'll be like, all this religious mumbo jumbo stuff. But if you truly believe and you truly care in your heart, knowing what Christ did for us, and then we still sin and we still, it just gets to me. I just wish I could be a better person. I think a lot about sometimes how I treat others, some of the stuff I say, not being as forgiving to others, not praying for our enemies, and some of the things I end up saying in my videos, and I reflect on it. It makes me feel really guilty, and I just really, have been struggling last week with wanting to be a better person, and I want to put out content to help people. I know some of the times I put out content, and I get it. Some people will be like, this isn't the most important stuff, but I get it. People are entertained by it, or at least they can get a laugh out of the severity and the nonsense going on in today's world. But this is a video where I've had this on my list for since I started 5 years ago, because, I was able to read all the comments back then because I didn't have a lot of subs and I had the time to. And a lot of people would message me about generational curses. And
all right, so there you have a call for an uprising, expressing to you very courageously what it is that he deals with.
A call for an uprising is not dealing with low self-esteem issues like Mario is trying to say here. He's dealing with the realization that we're not good and we don't deserve what Jesus did for us. That is the self-worth he's talking about. Not the kind you worry about if people like you or not.
And this is something that I deal with, and I'm sure many of you as well.
You're sure many of us struggle with this as well? All believers, every single one who has begun to grasp what Jesus did on the cross for us, feels unworthy. This is not a self-esteem issue like you're trying to turn it into in an attempt to relay it back to you and explain how your low self-esteem caused you to do drugs and buy escorts with donation money and have nude pics of men on your phone. You are taking what a call for an uprising said out of context and trying to force it to fit your sob narrative you continue to peddle on YouTube and whatever social media platform you're using that week.
This is something that is very common, and he's right. Biblically speaking, generational curses is a reality.
Now Mario's bringing up generational curses because he wants to explain how generational curses contributed to his addiction, which then led to starting up a scam ministry on YouTube.
And in fact, a very interesting thing is that modern day psychology has just caught up to what the Bible has been saying for a long time. The Bible talked about the fact that generational curses, sins, could be passed down from generation to generation. Modern day science obviously doesn't call it generational curses, it's called generational trauma. So they do recognize that, for example, if you have many alcoholics in the family, you look at your family tree and you go up and there's a lot of alcoholism, drunkenness, that sin has a higher percentage chance of being your sin.
So you had a bunch of con artists in your family tree?
The sin that is besetting to you, the one that so easily entangles you, like it did the rest of your family members. Now, it doesn't mean that that's going to happen, but you are predispositioned to the enemy using this vulnerability that is found, I believe, genetically in the family through the line in order to attack you. And so, very important that we, when we become Christians, break that curse. And that's something that I've done in my life. I've healed the trauma. I've broken the curse.
He's saying that he's healed the trauma and broken the curse as a way to try to win back public trust and repair his reputation. That's all this is about. He always has an agenda underneath his messages.
Now, let me share with you what it is a little bit that I deal with.
Of course, Mario... Mario always brings it back to his favorite subject, himself. This was supposed to be about a call for an uprising struggles, but he's turned it into the Mario show, as usual.
And have been in the process of being healed by Jesus in. And that is self-worth issues, exactly like a call for an uprising.
He doesn't have self-worth issues. Stop manipulating what he said to fit your agenda. He said he doesn't feel worthy of what Jesus did on the cross. Neither do I. Neither do any of my viewers watching this. But of course, you're going to try to attach yourself to a call for an uprising and become relatable. Because this is a strategy on your part to try to befriend him so you can try to use him for his channel again. You already tried this once and it didn't work. And it's not going to work now. A call for an uprising doesn't want to be your friend. He's not your ally. He doesn't consider you a brother. He doesn't want you trying to associate with him or attach yourself to him in any way.
I never feel good enough, you know? Well, I'm getting better. That is where I was really badly 2 years ago. But a lot of Christian therapy, counseling, talking it out, help from my pastor, being in Christian community, focusing on the Lord has done wonders.
Wonders? Do I even need to say anything at this point? If you've been following my videos, you already know by now exactly what I'm going to say because you can recognize the patterns for yourself. This is just more of him trying to convince viewers that he's changed and not the same person he was 2 years ago. He wants you to think he's changed so you'll learn to trust him again and start sending donations to him again. All of these videos are pitches. He's pitching himself to you as a changed man and needs for you to believe him. So you'll follow and help him build his fake ministry back up.
In this area. And I'll share with you how it is that I've walked through that process and how to heal those wounds.
Oh, will you? Will you drop us a nugget of your wisdom? Again, this is more self-promotion. He wants you to watch his channel and give him views and watch time as he is trying to build his ministry scam back up.
And how the Lord has been doing it and continues to do in me.
Just more trying to convince you that he's changed. You'll notice that's been the continual theme in pretty much every video he's made since getting exposed in 2019.
So my father received traumatic, basically abuse from his mother, telling him, you're not good enough, you're a loser, you're this, you're that.
Okay. All right, so now he's going to tell you that the generational curse in his family is what contributed to his low self-esteem, and that low self-esteem is what caused him to do drugs. And because of his drug addiction is why he spent your ministry donations on drugs and escorts instead of using it for ministry purposes. But the good thing is that God has since healed him of his generational curse and his addictions. And so now you can trust him again. So go ahead and give him your donations.
You know, and the interesting thing is I was talking to my uncle not long ago, and my grandma actually most likely received that from her father, from what my uncle knows. And so how far up does this go? We don't know. But it was passed down. My grandpa made my grandma feel like she wasn't good enough. And then she, because she didn't nip it right there and she allowed the sin to continue, she passed it on to my father. And then my father unknowingly, subconsciously did the same thing to me. But here is where it ends in Jesus' name.
Look at how phony this dude is. He looks like a used car salesman. Now he's really laying it on thick to bring it home to his main point, that he is now healed and you can trust him.
We're not going to continue this. I am not going to have a child and impose on them this at all. There's no way. I promise you that. The curse has been broken. So how has Jesus been healing me in this process? Well, it's through the renewing of our mind. You know, the parent oftentimes can have a huge, not oftentimes, has a huge impact on the child. And so when you're always trying to please your mom or your dad, and you're told all over the place that you never meet their standards, you're never good enough, what does that do? That leaves you traumatized, hurt, and wounded. And so you have self-worth issues because you've been so beaten that you're not good enough, that's how you feel all the time. And one of the ways that not feeling good enough was working itself out in terms of my behavior was self-destructive drug and alcohol use. I didn't feel good enough. I felt like a loser. And guess what? Losers, that's what they do.
Can you recognize what he's doing? Just trying to convince you he's changed from who he used to be. If he can get you to believe the why of how he was, then he can take you to the next phase, the how he was able to change. So that if you believe he has changed, then you'll want to support his so-called ministry.
They just drink and self-destruct. And so this self-hatred that I had within myself, never thinking that I'm anything, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I'm a waste of space, allowed me to fall into the negative pattern of behavior that led to self-destructive habits.
You can see exactly what he's doing, so you have to ask, why is it so important to convince his viewers he's changed? What is the motivation? Why is it so important to convince a bunch of strangers on the internet that you've changed? Obviously, because you want those strangers to start donating again. And that is the whole ammo for essentially all of his videos. So anyway, you get the point. I'm going to go ahead and stop now because there's really not much else to say about this particular video. But hey, one positive thing, at least he didn't cry on this one. Which reminds me, be on the lookout in the next couple of days for my new video.
People have said things like, Mario, you only came clean when you got exposed. Yeah.
Now, the number one priority, of course, is godly training, training in righteousness. We're looking for a particular type of man. And so the type of man that this ministry is looking to help disciple are men like us. I'm not going to be spending time being immature or childish. Part of what we're going to be showing you here is me and Eric, because God is in our lives now, are finally manning up.
Boy, you got me shook. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't even scam without thinking of you.